Proud of how they started fast and in the early morning kickoff started fast and got momentum and really in all three phases. Wish we would have kicked the ball a little better, field goal wise, but other than that, we were pretty good for the most part. Very aggressive on defense, and we're able to contain them. Their running back's a good player, and he breaks one in just about every game. So I thought our guys did a good job of containing him. We defended and we got some pressure on the quarterback. If we could have got off the field on third down, we'd have had an unbelievable day on defense. We gave them 6 of 17 on third down, and I'm going to say half of those were more than 3rd and 10. But overall, guys played really well. So let them enjoy this one, and then come back to work tomorrow and get going and get ready to play the next one.
Know anything about Spitzer's hand at this point?
Just precautionary, and with where we were. Plus, we've needed to play Drew. We just didn't have an opportunity, so it worked out well for us to get him in the game. And because of the situation, just precautionary to take him out.
With that said, what was it like to see?
What's that?
What was it like to see Drew throw
awesome.
that touchdown pass?
Yeah, he's been so good. He was a captain in this game. So that tells you what kind of a young man we're dealing with. He's practiced hard. He stayed focused. And we know it's difficult. We all do. Everybody sitting here knows it's difficult to do what he's doing. But he hadn't flinched at all, and he's been tremendous. So it's awesome to see him come in. Played pretty good.
Mike, how do you explain this turnover tear that Colby has been on of late?
He's in the right place at the right time. He's like Sean Lewis. Remember years ago when Sean Lewis was here? Every time a ball got tipped, he was standing there. And every time the ball was on the ground, he was there. And for some reason, he's in the right place at the right time. But you know what they say about guys that are good players are usually in the right place at the right time. And the second part of that, Jenny, is when he gets a chance, he catches it. You see some guys that are there and they don't do it, but he finishes and he catches it.
Mike, can you speak to the job that Jim Knowles has done especially the last month? He's been dealt some tough cards along the way as well. For
Sure.
you guys to be playing as well, how should be a testament to him?
Yeah, it's good you brought that up. I've been proud of Jim. Everybody knows it's tough to play defense in this league, and defenses are rallying a little bit. You're seeing better defensive play overall, and it's tough. You gotta have thick skin, as Coach Sutton, Eddie Sutton used to say. If you're going to coach, you gotta be thick-skinned. He used to tell me. And Jim's done a good job with that. We still have a long ways to go, but I think our schemes and the understanding of the players are getting better each week, and we're tackling good. Now, we missed some today, but those two guys that made us miss some tackles are very elusive. Sometimes that's going to happen. But we were running to the ball to eliminate big plays. I think that's also a big part of it. And we're getting better at rushing the quarterback, which is huge in this league. With 3- and 4-man pressure, you somehow have to be disruptive, even if you don't get the sack. Early in the year, we weren't disruptive, in my opinion. Now we're getting a little better.
How did Jim handle kind of the ups and downs of his first year and a half?
He's been fine. Jim and Sean have tough jobs with me because I'm an easy guy to work for, but I'm also very detailed, and I want things done. I don't like mistakes that are made over and over and over. So when that happens, I'm probably not the easiest guy to work with, and they've got thick skin in dealing with me, and they listen, and we make decisions, and we move on. They've done very well.
Dylan Stoner had another big game. What did you think of his career high in receiving yards?
It's been awesome. I said it a couple weeks ago when Wallace went down. He has to play multiple positions, and he's made plays. And our staff has done a nice job of getting us in schemes to try to open some things up. Like they did. They had a nice scheme today throwing the ball to Chuba. And the same thing's happening for Dylan. I mean, he just works hard. I mean, he's every day. Like I told you guys a couple weeks ago, he dives for balls in Thursday practices. Nobody does that. That's why he's had success.
Coach, can you just take a minute and talk about seeing Les Miles on the other side of the field?
I enjoyed seeing Coach pregame and Kathy and Smacker, and we had a good conversation. And I have a lot of respect for Coach. I hope he feels the same way. And, I asked him if you're having fun. He says he's having a ball, which I'm sure he is. So, and when the game's going on, I never really notice who's on the other side. I forget most of the time. I'm so zeroed in on what's going on. But it was good to see him again, and I told him I hope everybody was healthy and gives him a chance to go on to the next game.
Did you notice his son come in the game to play?
Not until it was too late. He was in 2 or 3 series, right? And then I looked up. Somebody said they put another quarterback in, and I should have known it was Manny, but I got so many other things going on in my brain that I didn't pay attention to it. And then 9 came back in, who's played really well this year, which I told him after the game. He's a good football player. We did a good job against him because he's been a good player. But I didn't notice Manny being in there. I wish I would have paid attention and grabbed Manny after the game, but I got too many things going on.
Manny was probably running around here back in the day, right?
Sure it was. Yeah. Manny, when Manny and my boys were little, they were running around like crazy. So I'm happy for them. They're a good family. They're good people.
You seem to have a lot of 3 wide today, which I know is not out of the norm for you, but was part of that to maybe keep an extra guy out of the box because you thought they might load up to stop the run?
There's some schemes involved there. They've done both. And you have 2 weeks to prepare, so you got to go on what you think you'll get, but you don't always know. People have played Chuba different ways. Some people stay back and just try to contain him. Some people bring pressure and try to gap him. But then, if you gap him and miss him, he's hard to catch. So they did a little of both. They played back some, they pressured some, they tried to mix it up some, which is pretty common when you're playing a team 2 weeks late. 2-week open week, I should say. Give them a little more time to do some other stuff.
You had the offensive line back intact. What did you think of the way they played?
I thought they played good. I'll say it's difficult for me to say without watching tape because I can't watch 5 guys. So it seemed like we played okay. I know we gave up a couple pressures that we shouldn't have, but I just have to see the tape and see what happened.
Mike, I know this wasn't one of Chuba's sort of eye-popping stats days, but to only, quote-unquote, have 23 carries, do you feel like, manage him and give him maybe some rest there that you can use LD a little bit more there?
Well, LD got 90 for us, and Chuba was over 5 yards a carry. So I would prefer that he's never more than 25 carries. So this is good for us and keep him going and keep him healthy. And, over a season, those guys take so many hits. So, he's 126 yards. And last year, we'd have said he had a great day. This year, it's an average day for him, but still pretty good day.
Is there any part of you, and I know you're going to say it's not a big deal, right?
You're going to ask me a question, and you're answering a question. I like it, though. You know what? If you and I weren't such good friends and you weren't such a dog lover, I'd be off of it, but I'm good.
I've learned
You know who did that? That's the Mike Baldwin theory, right? He asks a long question and then he answers it. So, all right, go ahead.
Like Baldwin, I'm going to get you to give me a different answer now.
No, that's true too. Go ahead.
I thought I had to cover you longer 4 years to be your good friend.
No, you're good. I'm good. You're a dog lover. I'm a dog lover.
All right, absorbing that, you have to. You've got a guy in the Heisman race, and he's going to have to post big numbers realistically to get to New York. Because he's sort of coming from behind in terms of the pack, and a lot of the guys ahead of him are on the playoff teams and they get a lot of attention. How much of that at all enters into situations like today where you do want to rest him, and yet you know that maybe he needed a bigger number than what he got?
Those discussions take place all the time. Traditionally for us, it's been the wideouts, right? So, but over the last 6 or 8 years, it was a lot of games that were pretty far ahead. Like today, we hadn't been in this situation much this year. Every game's been a battle. So the discussion takes place. And it's a real gray area, and it's a catch-22 because you try to pop him for another 40, and then if he gets hit, all of a sudden you're not very smart because you need him for next week. So those discussions take place. And I will say this for him. So I do not know what his total yards rushing are. Does anybody know on the year? 1726. So as of now, he's 1726. So at some point, the people that make the decision on who goes to New York have to say how many guys in the country have rushed for, I'm guessing he's going to at least rush for over 1,800, right? Pretty safe to say. So how many guys in the country have rushed for over 1,800 yards at that point? Anybody know? I don't know.
He's comfortably in first. He's
Among
How
all
many
the-
guys will rush for over 1,800 yards? Running backs,
two, three, maybe.
Maybe three.
maybe? Okay. Versus how many quarterbacks will throw for 3,000? 30? I'm guessing, I don't know, because I don't keep up with stats. But I was driving home the other day, and I got to thinking about that. When you think about the comparison, let's say he goes for 1,900. How many guys will rush for 1,900 yards in a Power 5 conference school? How many? How many quarterbacks will throw for 3,500 or 4,000 at a Power 5 conference school? 15? There's your answer. He deserves to be there. And I can honestly say that for him because he's a very humble, unselfish, hardworking young man. And you know me, I don't step out there much. So we're proud of what he's done. But at some point, you have to look and say, okay, is this a quarterback award? Or do running backs and other positions potentially get involved? Or is this just a quarterback award? If it's just a quarterback award, I'm good. That's my opinion. Everybody's entitled to it. That's my opinion.
Do you feel, and that's a valid opinion, but do you feel, because he's on some straw polls and watches, but he's running six to eight, not like 3 to 4. Do you feel like you have to force him into the conversation with regard to the electorate, the rest of the country at this point?
Well, I'm bringing evidence to the table. Here's my evidence. How many guys are going to rush for, let's say he's safely, okay, I'm going to do a show of hands. Who doesn't think he'll rush for 1,900 yards? Okay, so if he rushes for 1,900 yards and nobody else rushes for 1,900 yards at a Power 5 conference school, is it just a quarterback award now? I'm saying if he's the only guy, that's a pretty good accomplishment. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, I'm trying to do the best I can to answer your question, but I also can't do this. I have to be careful about putting him in because, like at the end of this game, you know, there was some pushing and shoving and all that stuff, and that's when you warn your team, don't do anything. We don't want a ejection, but then also I don't want somebody to get hurt by guys that are upset. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying, so all that has to filter through my head, and I have to answer for both sides of it. So I'm saying if he rushes for 1,800 or 1,900 yards and nobody else in the country does, and he's playing at a Power 5 school, if he doesn't go to New York, it's a quarterback award then from here on out, right?
Coach, going months back to the Oregon State game, you had some mixed emotions about Sanders doing a hurdle as a freshman. Now that you see him play some games.
Spencer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not fired up about that. But I told you after that game, were you up there? Yep. Remember I said I don't want to take his stinger away? I don't want to take his stinger away, but I kind of want to take his stinger away now. Because he's you know, he's got to know better than that. But he's very competitive, very emotional, and that's the way he is. So it's good, but also it falls back in this category. You know, you kind of hold your breath a little bit.
How did you feel your guys handled things when it got chippy at the end?
I thought I complimented them. I thought they did good. 94 did a great job. I did not see it, but I was told that one of their players took a swing at him and a follow-up swing, and he didn't swing back. So there's two things there. One, for a freshman, that's having really good composure, and two, he knows it's not going to hurt him. He's got a helmet on. So what good does it do to swing back? I mean, it can't hurt you. So I was very proud of him. I thought our guys handled ourselves well. Teams get frustrated, you know, when you're behind and you know the game's out of reach, and you get frustrated. But it doesn't do any good if our guys swing back. So I addressed it with them. I told them I was proud of them, the way they handled it. We didn't have any non-competitive penalties. So we had 2 penalties in basically the last 2 minutes of the game, right? A holding, and we came back on the backside of his own play and cut a guy, and he wrong-armed us, and we got a chop. Probably a good call, but it's a rare call. And then we had a holding. Other than that, we don't have any penalties. So they were very disciplined, and they were a tough team in this game. And that's the 2 things we talked about in August. We want a disciplined team that doesn't get penalties that aren't contested. And we want to be tough football team, and I thought today they did a nice job with that. We still have a ways to go, and we're not the finished product, but we're better.
Like you mentioned in passing, you're kicking, and we hadn't seen Matt have the kind of issues he did today. The long ones, I mean, maybe that's understandable, I don't know, but that short one seemed like that was a bit of a red flag. What's your level of concern?
You know, punters and kickers today for us weren't very good. We didn't punt very well, and we didn't kick very well. Sometimes they don't play as good, and it's more recognizable. Snaps, holds, punts, snaps, holds, kicks, because it's just them. So I have all the confidence in the world in Dola, but he missed 2 kicks that have been pretty routine for him this year. And even the long one, he had plenty of distance. He just missed a kick. So he's had better days, and I would guess that he'll come back and have good days from here on out.
Could you have drawn up the Dylan Stoner catch right before to set up that long one any better? I mean, get out 1 second
It was
left.
a nice play call. The protection was good. The throw and catch was good. They got caught in a corner fire. The safety didn't rotate over the top.
Coach, before you go, can you give us a comment about the team's feeling about the tribute to the military today?
Awesome. I was going to finish with that, and so you led me right into it. But everybody knows how I feel about the military and the families and the people that go fight for our freedom every single day. And I said it, and I'll say it again. I don't care if you're city, country, white, black, Democrat, Republican, rich, poor. You support the people that go fight for this country, period, unless you want to go fight yourself. I'm not tough enough to do it. So there's a lot of people and a lot of families that are affected by people that are willing to give their life up every day over there overseas. And so when we have a chance to support them and the fold of honor, the families, we're all in. And I asked the team was all in. Nobody, not one person said they didn't want to support them. So that's my opinion. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and I'm a strong supporter of our military and the people that are willing to fight for our country on foreign ground. So that's why we did it. Not saying me, but that's, as a group, that's why we support them.
Anything else, Coach?
Good? All right, thanks. I gave you 2 answers.